While all of us here wait eagerly for a review unit of the P20 Pro, we have the P20 Lite in the meantime with us. Now don't let the Lite moniker of this version of the P20 fool you. This phone actually packs a punch with its specs and it is priced just shy of Rs 20,000. Therefore, I decided to pit it against the Redmi Note5 Pro shooter to find out which phone comes out on top. Hi, I'm Ershad from Mr. Phone, and stay with me to find out if the P20 Lite has what it takes to beat the Redmi Note5 Pro shooter, which incidentally is our current favorite smartphone camera under Rs 20,000. Now before I jump into this comparison, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about more such awesome tech videos. The P20 Lite has none of the triple camera goodness or even the Leica branding like the P20 Pro. Instead, it comes with dual cameras on the rear. You get a 16 megapixel primary unit attached to a depth sensing 2 megapixel secondary lens. The cameras come with face detection, autofocus and an LED flash as well. And the video recording quality tops out at 1080p 30 fps. In comparison, the Redmi Note5 Pro has a 12 megapixel primary shooter, ably supported by a 5 megapixel depth sensing unit. You get face detection autofocus on the Redmi Note5 Pro as well, but you get 2 LED flash modules instead of one on the Redmi Note5 Pro. On the front, the P20 Lite comes with a 16 megapixel camera, whereas the Redmi Note5 Pro has a 20 megapixel unit. Now that we have the specs out of the way, let's get down to the comparison. Right off the bat in our wide shot, the P20 Lite struggles with exposure control. The Redmi Note5 Pro does a far better job in that regard. Evidently, you can see far better dynamic range on the Redmi Note5 Pro shot with a better control over the contrast as well. As far as the details are concerned though, there is not much separating the two cameras. I'll go with the Redmi Note5 Pro in this round. Once again, the Huawei P20 Lite tends to overexpose the image when shooting in auto. Moreover, the red flower looks a little pink here and the Redmi Note5 Pro's color accuracy is way better. Although while checking at 100% crop, you will not notice any difference in the amount of details in the shot. The Redmi Note5 Pro takes the cake again. In our HDR comparison, the P20 Lite's shot looks far punchier by default, even without the HDR mode on. With HDR on, it improves the dynamic range ever so slightly by nudging the levels on the highlights. The Redmi Note5 Pro's non-HDR and HDR samples look far dull in comparison. I'll pick the P20 Lite as the winner in this round. I got a surprising result in this round. The Redmi Note5 Pro, which has gently been consistent with its portrait mode, botched up the edge detection in my testing. Take a look at the building near Ashish's head and judge for yourself. Having said that, the software-induced depth effect looks a lot more natural in Xiaomi's shot. But the Redmi Note5 Pro underexposes the image for some odd reason. Also, the Redmi Note5 Pro's image is a little too warm in my opinion. The P20 Lite emerges the winner in this round. Both the phones can shoot 1080p video. In our testing, I noticed that the Redmi Note5 Pro shoots at a slightly higher bitrate and also benefits from the presence of electronic stabilization. The jelly effect from EIS still remains, but the stabilized footage is any day better than one that isn't. This definitely gives the Redmi Note5 Pro's footage a leg up over the P20 Lite's video. Not that the P20 Lite's footage is bad or anything, but it's just that the Redmi Note5 Pro has a slight advantage. Obviously, the Redmi Note5 Pro wins this round as well. As far as selfies go, I found it difficult to find many differences in the two shots. Unless you pixel peep, you won't notice that the Redmi Note5 Pro offers slightly crisper textures in Ashish's t-shirt. Moreover, the warm facial tone on the Redmi Note5 Pro shot looks pleasing to the eye. I'm going with the Redmi in this round, but it is a very close call. While the edge detection in our selfie portrait test on both the phones are almost on par, Xiaomi once again comes out on top because it has a slightly better image quality. Otherwise, there's not much separating the two images. In our low light test, surprisingly enough, both the cameras offered a very similar level of exposure. However, the P20 Lite captures a marginally better picture overall than the Redmi Note5 Pro. Firstly, the P20 Lite uses a lower ISO than the Redmi Note5 Pro. Therefore, there is less noise in the P20 Lite sample. Moreover, the P20 Lite manages to keep light bleeding at bay. Take a look at the lamp near the building. The P20 Lite wins this round. For this test, I shot one of my favorite showpieces in my house. Now, the dual LED flash on the Redmi Note5 Pro washes out the entire image because this is a fairly close shot. However, the single LED flash on the P20 Lite lights up the subject evenly and the details are very clear as well. I'll go with the subdued performance of the P20 Lite in this round. A lot of folks tend to take selfies in low light, so I took one too. And obviously the Redmi Note5 Pro took a better shot with lower noise compared to the P20 Lite. However, I suggest using the inbuilt flash. So therefore, let's just jump to the next test where we test the selfie low light with flash. In our flash test for selfies, the Redmi Note5 Pro has a definite edge with its dedicated front flash. I managed to capture a selfie with an evenly lit face and a great color tone using the Redmi Note5 Pro. The P20 Lite uses the entire screen to light up the face, which is a decent workaround, but it doesn't match up to the actual flash inside the Redmi Note5 Pro. Obviously, the Redmi Note5 Pro takes the lead for the final time. So, to give you my verdict, I think that the Redmi Note5 Pro takes better shots than the P20 Lite, and when it comes to camera performance, it has a slight edge over the P20 Lite. Having said that, the P20 Lite does offer you a little more when it comes to camera app. You get these AI stickers which are similar to what you get on the Oppo F7 and the Vivo V9, and you also get a night mode, a dedicated night mode, which actually improves the performance of the low light shots that you want to take, which gives it a bit of an edge, definitely. So which is your favorite camera smartphone under rupees 20,000? The Redmi Note 5 Pro or the P20 Lite? Let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Ershad signing off. Tata.